So yeah,
So
welcome
yes.
to Star Wars role-playing game character gen session, I guess. Also high stream if anyone's there already, because this is completely unannounced. But I'll go fix that real quick.
hmm Everyone wanted to do it now, apparently.
Where did you post it, Merzendi?
Hmm?
You said already done?
Uh, yeah, Saban has already done it. I was.
D sheets, templates. Not talking about pictures.
Oh, well, don't confuse me.
You confused you.
Yes, indeed, I have made character templates for everyone, and they are pretty, kind of.
They are.
Insofar as anything I do in a spreadsheet is going to be pretty. But anyway. So yeah,
Uh,
before we get into like the mechanical stuff, because that's all shit you can do at home if push comes to shove. What this is mostly for is for talking about the game and figuring out what do.
What to do?
All right, so we already talked about the ship a little bit, but for my character backstory, when is this taking place? During
Right.
the Cold War?
Yep. So that's question number one here on the little sheet. You should all be able to see this, right? You're in the Roll20. Okay. So yeah, this is circa the Treaty of Coruscant. So this is immediately after the Sith have dealt the Republic a very nearly killing blow by sacking Coruscant, destroying the Jedi Temple, and forcing them to sign a treaty that is not necessarily in their favor at all. We are taking place about 6 to 8 months after that, I think, is going to be the most fun time to have things going. So both sides are still battered by the war, and the Republic is super bitter.
kind of hard to blame them.
The salt is DCL level
Yeah.
for the Republic,
Should probably mention now that my character will be very salty.
as they are to be.
As,
Is
as
that
they
even
often
something you feel that? Why do you feel the need to
Where's the-
discuss that?
yeah.
It's just
We
Your
just
character
assume at this
exists.
point.
My
I
character
mean-
exists.
I mean, look
Well,
at your
during-
character.
He's missing
Obviously,
half his
he's
fucking
gonna be
face.
salty.
Well,
He's gonna be he's an edgelord.
I mean, okay, to be fair, what Sith
Look at
is
this
there
idiot.
that isn't an edgelord?
yeah, but if you can't, I don't think you can play a Sith who was sent to Korriban at this time because this is before they were accepting aliens and they just kill you on sight. You'd have
My
to be
guy
a
was
secret Sith.
No, they were already aliens.
Mm-hmm.
There were plenty of them. They used to be involved slaves because they started taking them during the war itself, and they were aliens at the sacking.
Yes.
And this is right after the sacking. So yeah, they were already aliens.
Not a whole lot of them, and yeah, most of them came from being slaves, so I think that's probably what Cal's mom was, is a Cathar slave.
If it helps, his father did not love Cal very much.
No shit.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, that's question one. So the war has just ended. That's probably where Starrick fought, like, very recently. And that war itself was almost 30 years, more than 20 years long. So for some of you, especially if you're playing a younger character or, say, a droid, you've probably never known peace before. At least not in your conscious life. So keep that in mind for, like, backgrounds and stuff.
Right.
I was probably a kid when the war started.
Yeah. Alright, so, question the second. Game themes.
Mhm.
Alright, so I'm just gonna put this out right now. I'm not interested in running smut wars or waifu wars or anything like that.
That is fine and understandable.
I
Wasn't planning on it.
Alright,
was not planning on it.
I don't know if I'm gonna keep it like PG-13 or anything, but we're not gonna stray into, like, it's typical savvy X-rated territory here.
So I guess we have to think of what the focus would be.
Yeah, so I've got some suggestions down yonder. I guess no one seems to be really super interested in playing, like, Republic commandos or like a whole just like group of Jedi Knights or something. So
Well, you did say you only wanted one
yeah,
Jedi,
exactly.
like one Force user.
I mean that is
But
very
I guess
true.
if we all really wanted to do it,
No.
but no, we've already decided on what we want to be.
So, Firefly
So
style
for this character sheet,
scoundrels.
can we just like copy? How do we like just copy this or something?
No, just go down to the bottom where the tabs are, and you can see your place.
Oh,
Yeah, just click on your name.
Holy shit, I exist.
I didn't even notice I was there. Holy shit!
Why? What?
In this tab in the chat, there is a.
Oh, yeah, we have character sheets.
Yes. I named your archetypes and put in your species and stuff. Feel free to rename your archetype if that does not suit you. That's just entirely flavor.
Yep. Rogue Scholar seems to make sense to me.
It doesn't say anything on mine.
Yeah, it does.
Archetype Twi'lek Mechanic.
Go down to the bottom where it says your name and then click that.
In what?
The spreadsheet.
It was linked in South Wars, Stray.
Oh, no, that was in
Are
the.
there like
Roll 20.
mechanical archetypes or something? I don't.
Sorry, Kino, what?
There are like mechanical archetypes for like actual like stuff that it does to your character, right?
No.
Remember. I think
The template is entirely
Or was that
flavor.
backgrounds.
Nope. There
There was
is
something.
there is no name thing that does anything to your character.
Okay.
Yeah, you pretty much just choose everything, I believe.
Yeah. So personality, background, physical description, and connections are all just story stuff. You can call on them to try and Jew me out of some bonus points, but other than that,
Okay.
So my question, I guess, would be, what would Firefly-style scoundrels entail as somebody who's never seen Firefly?
So in Firefly, basically they take whatever job they can, anything from smuggling, like food packs, to, in one episode, smuggling cows.
So that would definitely be the most open-ended choice.
yeah, it's also like the most stereotypically like
They also
Star
rob a
Wars
train.
adventures.
Yeah,
They also rob a train and rob a bank. So
Scouts and Explorers is pretty fun because if you're an explorer in Star Wars, you're trying to find new astrogation paths.
Mhm.
And it's dangerous because you might end up inside of a sun, but if you like get a profitable new path, part of the thing is you get like a cut of the money that goes through it for the rest of your life, making you incredibly wealthy.
Also, you can just claim planets. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can claim planets. It depends on your
So,
contract.
you're changing your name to Carlos McConaughey, I see.
And then sometimes you discover a Sith Empire, and then it invades the Republic. That happens.
Yeah, that happens.
That only happened
Fine.
the one time.
Just the once.
And nobody ever fucking shuts up about it. God.
Just get over it already, man. It's in the past.
Honestly, I quite like the idea of being
oh,
operatives
there's a
or
chart
spies.
for gear. Oh shit!
Naga Sadao did nothing wrong.
Wow.
Nice.
I'm not a.
Yeah.
I would say the only thing is like, at least with the base model of my character type, spy work would probably not fit him at all.
Ugh, I don't want to
Operative work would possibly.
Operative possibly, but yeah, my character will not be subtle in the slightest.
Yeah, I think spy might be a misnomer for like you. In this case, like it would be you're behind Sith lines. You're working for the Republic to do stuff, probably like sabotaging the Sith more than spying on them.
I mean, I guess this
super
would
illegal stuff that the what was it? Republic intelligence would immediately disavow us for.
Exactly.
I mean, this
We
is
don't
kind
actually
of a,
exist. We're just troublemakers, random troublemakers.
Yeah. I mean, you could totally be Firefly-style scoundrels who also might happen to be spies sometimes.
I mean, this would be, I guess, more on the good side. But since it's the Cold War and the Sith are pretty much trying to hunt down the Jedi, well, how do people?
Not
figure-
out.
They didn't try to hunt down the
Let-
Jedi in the Cold War.
Did
Nope,
they-
the Jedi all retreated to Tython for like 30 years. And
Okay,
the-
okay.
Superman.
Well, so hold on. This is the Treaty of Coruscant. Tython hasn't been discovered yet. They don't know where it
this
is.
is just before that. But yeah,
But
the
yeah.
Jedi are all getting together
Yeah,
after the destruction of their temple and trying to,
Find a new fucking house.
Mhm, right.
Okay, so so since we are bullshitting some things, what if there was like a faction of Siths who are just all about trying to hunt down the Jedi and destroy them for good, and our adventures involve trying to at least keep some of the Jedi alive or keep Jedi teachings and artifacts?
Uh,
You're not completely lost.
I
there,
mean,
you,
I
you
feel
can't
like that wouldn't be like a focus so much as like individual missions as part of like the spies, partisans slash operatives.
Yeah,
Also,
Okay.
that
you're
sounds like a
thinking,
goal more than a story.
and also you're thinking during this time, you're thinking of the Jedi like only at one temple. They had hundreds of temples and like the hundreds of thousands, is not millions of Jedi at this point. So hunting down them all is kind of a impossible task, with a splinter group.
Every Sith is a breakout murderer of
I mean, it's
Jedi.
not like the Jedi tried that once or anything and miserably failed creating the Empire in the first place.
They've had the odd pilgrim, sure. Potato, potato.
I don't know. It was just an idea.
So yeah, it sounds like there's a leaning towards scoundrels who like take on jobs for the Republic sometimes. Like maybe you have a fence or a handler who's from like Republic intelligence, but mostly you operate on your own.
Sounds
That sounds
sounds
good.
fair.
Yeah, that could work.
Freebooters until proven otherwise.
Yeah, freebooters until you're also privateers. Okay,
Hey, that
so
fits
then
in.
Sometimes
That
we'll
fits in
also
with
like
what
to
we were
handle
thinking for a
cargo
ship
and
as
other
well.
stuff, and maybe
So yeah.
sometimes we'll explore.
speaking
That
of
fits-
ship, Star Wars as a game, like the first edition, assumes the player characters will at some point acquire a ship that can ferry all of them together in one neat little unit. In fact, as an interesting point of note, the game does not include defensive stats for capital ships or anything like that, because it straight up says, if the players try to fight this thing, they will die. Rest in peace.
It's just an instant game over. You just run.
No, it's not an instant game over. Like you have to roll the attack rolls against them because they need time to figure out. Oh, this is a bad idea. We need to run away.
Ow.
But yeah, like you cannot hurt capital ships in this game. Like they just
But what
exist in the background.
But what if I have a lot of
They're like a
spunk
force
and-
of nature.
Yeah,
Yes.
but what if I have a lot of spunk and a fighter? Apparently, according to George Lucas, fighters can take down capital ships whenever they feel like it.
Thank God, don't bring that in here.
Yeah, you keep George Lucas out of this.
Fucking
We
you
keep
keep the
George
other
Lucas-
Star Wars out of the good stuff.
We keep George Lucas where he belongs, in the trash can that's on fire. All right.
Well, the thing is, he was a CGI guy, not really a storyteller.
Yes,
He
that
loved-
much is
yeah.
obvious.
He just wanted to make really cool CGI stuff,
Yeah.
and for the time, it was mind blowing.
He succeeded in that and nothing else.
Well, I mean, we're playing a game based off of his, ideas, so
We're playing a game based before his ideas. I mean, I guess he's like, you can't say he didn't have any part in Star Wars, but you definitely can say he ruined it when he was the only part of it.
Anyways, so for the ship, if this is like right after then this is still during the part when the Republic and the Sith are all, especially the Republic, because they kind of let their military technology fall behind, are trying to make whole new fleets. And what I suggested earlier is a decommissioned Corvette. We can slap a couple more guns on it and then not put on any other guns for, convert that area into cargo space.
I feel like a Corvette is way too big.
A light Corvette is literally the smallest class of warship. They are
That's
not
the
that.
that is the Star Wars character ships.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
So you think we're going to be in an even bootier little ship?
Yeah, like the Jedi ship is a light Corvette.
I'm aware.
For the Old Republic. Okay.
Okay then. What is the
Are
next
there any
raid ship
actual
down?
Are we in a space
smaller
bus?
ships in Star Wars?
Yes,
that
so-
can carry more than one person.
I was gonna say, so light freighters are a type of ship. They're not the only kind of freighters. They're just like the super stereotypical. Oh, we're playing Star Wars RPG. Obviously, we have a light freighter, right? It's the Millennium Falcon, or something equivalent to it that will become the Millennium Falcon.
Be fair, I like the idea of having a ship that's at least big enough to double as a living space for all
Yes.
the characters.
So, like, my idea I was going to pitch is a scout ship, which is basically the same size as a freighter, but it's got science equipment, it's got room for vehicles, it has a workshop on board, so it'll have places to like repair the droids, like store speeder bikes and stuff. And they tend to be well armed, or at least have some armament. Like, let me throw a couple links at you. Boop. And E-9. Boop. Something like this that's still got some cargo space, has some like combat ability, but is pretty quick and is going to be very not looked at very hard by anybody because it's just a little scout ship. It's not, full of smugglers or anything. That'd be silly.
I do like the second one better.
Yeah, the E9 is super cool looking. Let me pull it up so Stream can take a look. Do.
Is Artifact still going on today?
Yeah, in like an hour.
Okay, cool. I was just wondering because Kenneth said he might stop it.
We'll see how this goes.
So yeah, that was going to be my suggestion. But if you want to be like in some like retrofitted bulk freighter or maybe some sort of troop transport that your Republic trooper just straight up stole.
I do like the idea of a stolen ship where we've just scratched all of the shit off of it.
Well, I mean, he could be a disillusioned veteran who's real mad about the treaty. How dare you sign a treaty? I'm gonna steal your stuff.
We'll have to wait for MERS.
I could definitely see him having grabbed a ship that fell off the back of a truck.
The starship just fell off the back of the truck, I swear.
That's my story. I don't know what's yours.
Wait, what's the Imperial version of the transporter? Because a stolen one of them would be pretty useful.
Yeah, although you'd constantly have to be like
Oh, yeah.
getting IDs and stuff for it. Otherwise, the Empire is just gonna be like, "Oh, hey, stolen ship, boom."
Good point.
Empire would be like, hey, stolen ship, boom. But then again, the Empire would also be like, oh, hey, rebel ship, boom.
Yeah. Other
Or
Empire,
just, oh,
but
hey,
yes.
ship, boom.
Republic ship, boom. Ship in general, boom.
Well, no, this is an empire that's controlling like a third of the galaxy. They have lots of trade going on. It's not just pure nothing but tyranny all day, every day, right? Like people actually live in this place.
They're a government. They're an actual country.
They were, not only a legitimate government, but better at what they did than the Republic.
Oh yeah, they fucking nailed the shit out of bureaucracy. It's because all of them were British.
I remember there was definitely a part where the Empire ended up boosting the economy from the core worlds because they're just needing so much for fucking ships and building Death Stars and bullshit that the trade is booming.
Sure, I mean that's how Hitler rescued Germany's economy, right? Just turn it into a war economy.
A war economy.
Pretty much.
And when you have an entire galaxy to conquer, that's a fairly sustainable thing too. But yeah, the second thing to think about with ship is where you got it from. That's almost as important as what kind of ship. Because if you want to take a look at the gear page here, I've put it in handouts. We can see that a basic bitch stock light freighter new costs 100,000 credits. You guys start off with like 2,000.
I was figuring that one or two of the characters would be like the owner of a hand-me-down or decommissioned ship.
Well,
Daddy's ship.
Part of my character's backstory, she was a mechanic who went out to test the engines on her ship, and then, well,
She
You
just
know,
never came back.
no, it's not. She never came back. But then, the planet got attacked. Her family, well, she thinks her family got vaporized anyway because the city's not there anymore.
Oh, so it's like you're up in the ship, and then you're like, oh, what's that that's just arrived on the other side of the planet? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, pretty much. She went
So
out to
on the plus side, free ship.
Cause she had her own little, engineer shop, and she was trying to, fixing up a ship for a customer. And then while she was out, she's, maybe gazed too longingly and lovingly at her family, and so the
that'll get you
universe
every time.
decided, no.
Yeah, no, never gaze lovingly at something from orbit. That's how you see it get exploded.
The Force decided to rectify her hubris.
Ah, my home. I don't know what I would ever do without it.
And then you just see mushroom clouds.
Oh. I guess I'll have to figure
I
that out.
guess you'll find that out quickly, yeah.
So the mechanical way this works out is when you have a ship at character generation, which is what y'all are pretty much going to do, is that it's going to come with a cost. And that cost is either you do the Han Solo thing where you're horrifically in debt, but you start off with a, probably customized ship that maybe, has some maybe legal, maybe not modifications on the side, e.g. the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Or it was given to you by a faction you work for, whether that's the Republic or whoever, but whoever gave you this ship is expecting you to, be ready to hop to when they have a task for you.
Okay, suggestion.
Okay, well, hold on, let me finish. Okay. The third way is you stole the fucker, but if that happens, then there's, as I was saying, the thing of if you stole it from one of the major factions, obviously you're going to need to be able to bluff your way past them every time you interact with them. Or you stole it from a criminal group, in which case, they'll be sending bounty hunters and stuff after you. Or you stole it from a rich person or your daddy or whoever. Whoever you stole it from is going to get involved in the plot and make things difficult for you.
So, this is kind of a way for Aisha and Starrick to maybe potentially know each other. What if Aisha had a clunky old ship and she was on Coruscant when the planet was attacked, and to be able to get a ship worthy enough to... Actually, no, that makes no sense because you can't just modify ships.
Or Starrick stole the freighter, the ship like we talked about earlier, and part of our way of paying it off, because we wanted to be roguish, doing our own thing.
Agents.
But then
being in debt to them seems good.
But we wanted to be, our characters wanted to, do our own thing, not be involved with this stupid war anymore. Oh, you stole the ship? Well, guess what? You're also unofficial spies now.
Yeah, that sounds more like you didn't steal the ship so much as you stole the ship, quote air quotes, so that you can be disavowed. Maybe Stark.
This ship is stolen.
Yes, Stark is a deserter from the Republic Army.
Thus said, if we turn it down, then we have stolen it, and then we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Right.
So
exactly.
If we turned down their generous offer that they gave us a few months after we stole the ship, well then, the quotations go away.
Quotation marks disappear.
So Starrick, a super badass soldier, and they were like, okay, we need you to run because if you stay here, we're gonna lose you, and we need you for later. So they disgrace, air quotes, him and make him go out and work as a Republic spy.
I was thinking that he literally stole it, and then they got in contact with him months later saying, oh, hey, nice ship you got there. And you know what? You go to these other places of free trader, right? You know what? You can keep the ship. Just go and do this thing, and we won't turbo laser you next time we see you.
I mean, would the Republic make that threat, though?
Yes.
Okay.
Remember, the Republic is as much full of shitty people as the Empire is. It's just the Jedi.
After the Coruscant Treaty be able to say that, since the Sith...
Yes.
They still have warships. They were Coruscant was like a surprise attack that took the guts out of their place, their galaxy's future. They do still totally have
negotiating a peace alliance.
Yeah.
The Sith attacked Coruscant.
They still totally have capital ships and patrol boats, and they still own the corward part of space, at least for now. So no, they would fuck us up immediately.
Okay.
And remember, just because it's the Republic, remember, it's like the United States. We're not as good as we tell people we are, and no one actually buys it.
Yes, that's the important thing to remember, is the Republic is not necessarily good, and the Empire is not necessarily bad. It's just mostly one way.
You keep saying that, but it's so easy to paint them as the bad guys in media.
It's because
That's
they
the
are British
propaganda.
sounding.
They were the
That's just
essence.
Also,
That's
okay,
propaganda.
in the media,
like-
it's because like LucasArts believes purely in black and white storytelling, and they will shit on your house if you try and make it a gray storyline, like say KOTOR 2. That's one of the
Even
reasons
then,
Obsidian
even
got
in
the rug yanked out.
Even in KOTOR 2, it's like, fuck, all the Siths are using red lightsabers and dressing like fucking assassin cosplayers.
Oh, I mean,
So
yeah,
hard
that's just
not
what
to-
they do.
That's what they
It's
do.
so hard
not
They're,
to
they're a
paint
bunch of
them
bad
as
guys.
Also in KOTOR 2, the Republic were massive dickwads.
Exactly.
I can believe that. It's just they're the dickwads who dress like nice people.
Remember, DCL, the Republic has an entire prison planet where they routinely tortured aliens to figure out their stress levels and how to best kill them. And that was the Republic.
Whoa.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but
Oh yeah,
Creepy.
that
That's
secret
in the
planet's
older-
awesome.
Yeah,
Apparently,
that's
some
in-
force powers even have like super dark paths.
Yeah.
Like
That's
Yeah.
in the Old Republic, and basically they got a bunch of prisoners or people that like protested the war, got them all together, tortured them for many years, and got a bunch of data like Mengele style.
nice. So yeah, that's there's our moral equivalency for the day. But anyway,
So
I want to hear from Mers about this, because now people are like having a serious discussion about your character having jacked a starship, and also possibly being a Jason Bourne operative.
I mean, I could very much see it fitting for Starrick to, well, say, Treaty of Coruscant, the Republic, that that's basically the Star Wars equivalent of Treaty of Versailles, right? But Republic had its military shit all over, so I could definitely see him, saying he would take care of decommissioning one of the ships, just pilot it out to a drive yards to be broken and scrapped, and then just fucking off with it and going AWOL. That would definitely be something he would do.
Okay. So then, are you cool with Stark having like either before that or sometime after that having gotten in touch with or having gotten contacted by Republic intelligence to be like, hey, would you like to become a privateer behind enemy lines?
The Treaty of Coruscant didn't demilitarize the Republic. They weren't forced to give up any of their things like that. What they were forced to give up were entire worlds.
Right.
Not like they were forced to lessen how many standing military members.
Yeah.
In fact, during the entire Cold War, they were just rebuilding openly.
I think instead of getting rid of the ship as part of demilitarization, it'd be more like, oh well, the war's over. We don't need this piece of shit ship that we just press ganged into service anymore. We're going to replace it with something that's better, that's actually like a combat ship instead of a tugboat with a missile launcher on it.
Well, it's not just that, but it could just be the Republic standard during the time, but they were so backwards in technology while the Sith Empire had literally been fighting wars for 1,000 years, conquering planets in unknown space, that during the treaty, they completely threw out all their old designs and started making new ones.
Right.
Because they were just so out of date.
So yeah, that makes sense then. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to my Republic intelligence question, Mers.
Yeah. Would probably have had to have happened a little while afterwards, but
Okay, so you'd say Stark
but-
is still like a patriot at heart, deep down in there. Or is he just in it for
He
the
doesn't-
profit?
yeah.
He
He doesn't want to see the Republic wiped out, but he doesn't particularly like them that much anymore.
Okay. Alright, so yeah, this is going to be some sort of gunboat or blockade runner or some such that's, considerably out of date for a military ship, but still probably pretty good for an independent group. Now, since it's a Republic Origins ship, if you go into Sith territory, which, spoiler alert, the first planet is, they're gonna probably look at you funny.
If you have a Republic ship, you have to announce your presence, and then they set
Yes.
up a protocol droid and blah 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 blah.
Well, I mean, this isn't a ship that's in Republic service, quote unquote. It's just like a Republic model ship, right?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, they'll probably just look at you funny, and maybe you'll have to go through some extra inspections. Because they might suspect that you are exactly what you are, which is just, on the payroll of intelligence.
I guess that question will have to come up later. But then, how does my character, who is a Sith, get involved then?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, one part of character generation, if you want to swoop on down to the bottom, is your connections tab. I want everyone to have at least one connection with another player character and one NPC who you can pull out of your ass, or like pull someone out of the Star Wars wiki if you want. But yeah, it sounds like Stark is the guy who owns the ship. He's our ex-trooper. Then Ash probably got brought on as a mechanic. Either hired by Stark or just picked up somewhere along the line. So then we have a Sith. Kina, are you an assassin droid or like?
I don't remember what denominations of droids there are.
So officially, there's 5 classes that basically go into the various science types, 1 and 2. I believe 3 is protocol, 4 is battle, and class 5 is just basic bitch laborer. But assassin droids are like an actual thing. They're also battle droids and companion droids.
Okay, let's see. For class 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 is labor, and 4th is. 3rd is science. 2nd is.
Yeah, Theron is Satil's daughter.
You mean son?
Son.
Yeah, son. And this is like he grew up during the Cold War. Yeah.
Unless he's like
like
40 or something in Tor, but
No, he's 30s, and that's you're right. It can't be him. Oh,
now it might be like Satil herself or Jace Malcolm, but
yeah, Satil and her lover boy. I was about to say.
yeah.
And probably, from judging from these classes, since I'm currently going to be what is essentially, I'm thinking maybe I could be I could have been like maybe a part of the ship, since I'm supposed to be a pilot and navigation kind of machine, like maybe a class 4. Or maybe would that be more like a class 2, a second class droid?
I think
engineering
class.
and technical.
So class 2 is like astromech droids, like R2, but I think that would also cover pilot droids, so that makes sense. Now, it's important to note before you start doing anything mechanical. There is a specific rule stipulation both in lore and in the game's mechanics that if your droid does not start with at least 1 skill die in blasters or melee or some combat skill, you have 0 ability to intentionally harm organics. Now that's fine if you want to be like, no, if a fight breaks out, I'm going to run and hide and just distract people or something.
Initiate whistling scream noise and run.
Yeah, exactly. Just 3PO the fuck out of there. Also, are you actually naming your character Hi Moo?
I want that so bad.
Hey, that's a question you can answer on later. It's a funny name, but
it's pretty great.
It's entirely valid too. Just perpetuate the meme.
Yeah, I mean, why not just perpetuate the meme? Just keep it all going.
So yeah, if you want to say that your character is like a pilot droid or something like that, that makes a lot of sense. One would question why you look like a sexy girl, but well, you know.
Well, I
That's
mean,
because
could have
the
been a
artist
protocol
determined.
droid that got uploaded. I was about to say, just got uploaded with the chip for like astrogation and stuff like that.
All right.
Because
And then we'll just find an HK chip, and then she'll have the unfaltering ability to call everyone meatbags.
You know, those things could drastically change the personality of this character.
I know, but you know, I'm
creator-
just saying we can just, since you look like a protocol escort droid, we'll just put in like a pilot chip in you. You'll be fine.
the
Cause-
creator of the
See,
droid.
see, what happened is that when the ship was taken, this droid was found like in the closet.
Oh.
This shameful sex droid.
Yeah.
No, no, no. Let me
It's
just
not.
like put my
Not
little.
right, it's right there. No. Okay.
Well,
So hold on. Let me just posit something here. All right, Lilish, describe your character's job exactly. Are you just like fucking Indiana Jones?
Basically.
Okay, so since there's a bajillion languages in the galaxy and a bajillion different cultures, wouldn't it make sense for your character to have acquired a protocol droid at some point?
That does indeed sound like a thing that should be done, yes.
And since you have a tech on board the ship, it's entirely possible that droid was given a pilot chip or battle chips or God knows what else.
I found some stuff in a box and basically crammed as many in as I could.
Yeah. So does that work for you, Kina? Like, you are still the pilot of the ship. You're mechanically the same. It's just, you were
So I
bought by
just
Lil.
essentially fisted a bunch of chips into you and was like, work! Work!
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that sounds all right.
All right.
I love the fact that your character is Space Indiana Jones, because that's exactly the feeling I went when I drew her.
just
Excellent.
Ash sits down and looks at the job. You just get like, what? Why did you try to put that there?
It all worked fine. So obviously I did it for a good reason.
That's a secondary power slot, though.
Oh right, did I not put in USB 2.0? These are USB 1 connections.
And so, yeah, then the last question is poor old Kitty Cal here. How does he fit in?
You a runaway.
He is a runaway.
Could have picked you up.
Never gonna get that song out of my head now, thanks.
Yeah, you could have just been picked up by like Starrick or Lil on their adventures before the game started.
I assume he was born on one of the main Imperial planets and was able to move freely due to the war. I don't know if there's any lore reason why that cannot be a thing.
I don't see why.
But yeah, if he was born on one of the rim planets where the Sith were, after everything went down on his place, he ran the fuck away. And I guess the only thing is he would need some reason to want to go along with one of the characters.
So, thought, again, going back to Indiana Jones here, perhaps at the same time you found Cal, you were digging up Jedi artifacts, and one of those interested Cal. Like, you found some holocron that's teaching him force powers or something. So instead of selling it, you...
Okay, so question. How roguish is Lilish?
In what concept?
Like, would she try to dupe somebody she thought she could?
Oh, right. Definitely more scoundrel than thief.
So it's like if
think fast talker as opposed to
that's what I meant. Like say you saw Cal just kind of wandering around and you realized that he was a Sith without a purpose, and you were just like, hey, he's not
new friend.
I can use that for a second. And then Cal's like super reluctant. He's just like, I don't want to be involved with you. Get off me. And do you have a heart? Are you a rogue with a heart of gold?
It's at least, I would say it's a little bit. It's probably Electrum. We'll go with Electrum.
Like, I would say that if he got caught up in a misadventure with you, the thing that would have decided him tagging along would if he saw you do a good or altruistic deed, and he'll be like, oh, hey, that kind of reminds me of my dead brother. and my whole mission is just to do him proud. So I guess I'll tag along and see what good I can do with you.
You found out I'm a really good tipper at cantinas, which obviously means I'm a nice person.
Obviously, the tip is strong with this one.
Yeah. Look, you always leave a good tip.
Something, that's what she said. Alright, so then we have basically two subgroups here. So, Lil, TM, and Stark. How did you end up on Stark's ship, like, for the long haul?
Well, I have a terrible habit of getting involved in terribly fiery starship explosions.
Mm-hmm.
And may have been in the need for a fresh ride. And a paycheck.
Alright.
Probably got caught up in one of Starrick's jobs, quote unquote.
Right. Or is it the other way around? Like, did you contract
Ooh.
Stark like Han Solo style to ferry you someplace, and you've just been working together ever since, one for the other?
Also fine with that.
I should also mention that if Cal and Mylish are a thing, Cal would most likely be like the very short, unintimidating muscle of the group. And anytime somebody tries to do anything to you, he'll probably like super guard dog.
Yeah. You're my Wookiee.
Yeah, I'm basically. Yeah,
your Wookiee is a tiny cat.
He's the tiny furry Wookiee.
You are my little Force Wookiee.
Little Force Wookiee.
If you're Han Solo, I am Chewie.
Alright.
Yep.
So yeah, that works for everyone. Then some mechanical questions.
Shoot.
Which would be, alright, we know that Moo is going to be the pilot, and probably Astrogator. So those are covered. You guys are definitely going to want to have someone who can do Streetwise as a thing.
Yep.
I'll be,
I figured that would be honestly.
Yeah,
Right.
2 of us sounds good to me.
Yep, 2's always better than 1. And I can guess who's going to be the repair monkey on this ship.
Computer programming and repair, yeah.
Because that's also going to be... well, the technical skill also gives you droid programming and repair, which is going to be very useful since you have a droid companion, who, if she gets shot, will need someone who can actually do maintenance. So you might want to invest a skill die in that.
All of them.
Yeah. Alright, so that's all the stuff that's here on this page. So let's pop over to your character sheets here on the old stream.
Yeah.
And go through them. If you haven't read through the rulebook, basically you're going to start with 18 dice to divide amongst your attributes. So strength, dexterity, perception, knowledge, mechanical, technical.
Do we have to distribute those into their individual sub skills?
I thought it was
each?
7.
Or can we put them into the
Hold
general?
on. Stop.
Okay.
That's for normal people. You have 18 dice for the attributes. Everyone's going to get 7 skill dice, which will give you things like blaster and dodge, which you add to your attribute.
I thought that was the other way around.
Nope. It is most certainly not.
Like 7 dice for attributes? Because
No.
you can't even raise an attribute.
No, you start out with 18 dice for attributes and 7 for skills.
Okay.
Now, if you are a droid, all of your attributes are 1. Forever and ever,
Yes.
they do not ever change. You start out with a shitload of skills, 18 dice.
Okay.
So you can use that to buy into as many skills as you want. You can also use that to buy attachments, which are integrated things like tools, weapons, shit like, I have a jetpack, woo! Like, one of the things you can actually buy is just a repulsor thing, so you can just be a flying droid. It's going to zip around in the air. You can also buy armor, since your strength is what you use for damage reduction, and your strength is 1. You can advance an armor rating, just like a skill.
Okay.
To a maximum of 5 dice, without turning yourself into some sort of horrible armored Hulk that takes up like 20 feet in a room.
Right.
For DCL, your force skills come out of your attribute pool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that pulled 18.
Normally, characters are going to learn Control first, then Sense, then Alter, in that order. Now, you can start with all 3 unlocked, but remember that your attributes never go up. So if you want to start with all 3 Force skills unlocked, you're going to be fairly crippled in terms of attributes.
I also thought you could increase Force skills, but it's like twice the cost of like little skill points you get.
If you don't have a Master. And that's, again, sort of the remnant of the original trilogy this game was based around is, yeah, you can get better as a Jedi just on your own, but generally speaking, if you want to get better, you need to find a Jedi Master. And that's an adventure. Because unlocking new Force skills, which is Sense and Alter, doesn't cost anything. It just requires you go on some adventure or complete a quest for your Master, or to just fucking find one.
And honestly, I'm not sure I want to derail the game by trying to find a Master to learn from.
Well, see, that's the thing, is that like that can be a fun thing and can also tie into other quests, right? Like, Luke doesn't derail a quest going to find Yoda. He just like, okay, you guys go do your thing, I'll be right back.
Or as perhaps as an example of a way it would tie in, like if Saban does go with that story idea you had of one of the Sith sects hunting down Jedi, and one of the jobs I could get from the Republic is to go and rescue a Jedi who's been taken prisoner from them, and then while we're taking them back to Typhon or wherever the Jedi are holed up, you could learn from them then.
Yeah, if an opportunity like that presents itself, then yeah, I don't have as much problem with it.
Right.
I believe you could only get the Force powers up to a 3D at character creation.
That makes sense. But remember, you just spend 1 attribute die to unlock them, and then they advance with skill dice.
Do they?
Yes.
I thought they,
No. So, spending 3 attribute dice at character generation means you have all 3 Force skills unlocked.
Okay. But it'll mean I'm hurting for attribute points, which cannot be increased.
Right. So, you get to decide, okay, am I strong in the Force, but am I a shitty pilot, technician, am I a weakling, physically, whatever? Or am I willing to wait to get that power and, go on adventures for it?
And do you have to have a minimum of 2D in something?
For a human, yes. So that's the other question. We have 3 aliens in the party. 2 Cathar and Twi'lek. Do either of those races have, like, cool special abilities?
Not
No.
that I know of.
Yep. Well, Twi'leks have hidden language, and they're faster than humans.
Yeah, that's not really a thing to worry about.
What?
Like, I'm talking
I'm
about
not
shit like,
sure what
I
you
can
mean.
breathe underwater, or, like, I am a Wookiee. I can literally rip people's arms out of their sockets.
I am super jacked.
Yeah, being jacked is a special ability, let me tell you.
Kent? Yeah, Kent, what are they called? Cathar see the dark?
I'm checking. I don't believe they do.
Oh,
I haven't seen anything about like Cathar's actual powers, if they have any.
They are proud, passionate beings, strong physical descriptions, blah blah blah. Language, communication, adventures, traits. Their deafness is slightly higher than the human norm, and their intelligence tends to be a little bit lower, and they have sharp claws. That's it.
Okay, so for Cathar, let's go like this. Your maximum dexterity is 5 dice instead of 4, but your minimum technical dice is just 1. And your maximum becomes 3.
Alright. What about mechanical?
That stays the same. That's just things like piloting.
So you
Can
still
I
need
say
things
one
like
thing?
2 dice in mechanical and knowledge,
And
right?
knowledge, yes. Yes, Kino?
Alright.
The way that this rulebook has laid out its skills is fucking terrible.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fucking nightmare to try and navigate.
I went to the character sheet on page like 118
yeah,
just to see all the skills there
that's
laid out in an example
What
sheet.
page was that on again?
118.
108.
Or it's like 122 in the actual book's numbers.
Mhm.
So,
So, also, it's worth noting that the game
Oh,
has
there
a
it is.
free-form skill system. So, if you want to have something like lightsaber skill, or I don't know, xenoarchaeology as a skill, you can just put that on your character sheet, and that's a skill now.
I remember lightsaber skills being something special on its own. I forget what
Yes,
the rules
it's
were.
not like normally melee weapons use the melee skill under dexterity. Lightsabers use the dexterity lightsaber skill because they're unique.
Okay.
Mechanical beast ready. Gotcha.
And now we know why that's a shitty name for an attribute, but whatever.
So, for instance, here with 344, like 322, those would be good for just like the main attributes. So 3 strength, 4 dex, 4 perception, 3 knowledge, 2 mechanical, 2 tech.
Sure.
what about splitting dice, Saban? You might want to talk about that.
Ah, yes. Okay. So, if you are so inclined, you can split dice into 3 pips, or 3 plus 1s. So, if you have, say, 18 attribute dice, you can put 3d plus 2 in strength and put 2d plus 1 in technical, for example. You can have a plus 1, plus 1, plus 1, or plus 1, plus 2. You can't have a plus 3, that just becomes another die. That's also how
I
skills
see.
advance.
So where I've got here a strength of 3, I could instead make that a strength of 2 plus 1 and then make it a dexterity of 4 plus 2.
Correct. 3 plus 1, or 2 plus 1, then 4 plus 2. Yeah.
All right. So, I didn't like really read the book.
That's fine.
Well, I read a little bit of the second edition, but so I have how many skills to spend?
You have
Dice
7
anyways?
skill dice and 18 attribute dice.
Okay.
Now, for your character as an NG, you are going to want a high technical attribute, because that covers all the repair skills, all the programming skills, security, demolition, that sort of stuff.
How much
So
is every?
okay, so the 18,
Mhm.
those all go into like the main things like mechanical, technical, and then the skill dice go into the things that go under them, like
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So, for example, if you have a dexterity of 3d, that's 3 of your attribute dice, then you put 2d in blaster, and now you have blaster at 5d. So they're additive.
How much is
Okay.
How much is each dice, by the way?
What do you mean?
Like,
It's a
is it-
d6.
okay.
Ah, yeah.
So-
The game exclusively uses d6.
Just I was trying to figure that out.
So the 7 attribute die are each 1d6 you can put into something.
The 7 skill dice, but yes.
Yeah, skill dice. Yeah. And then the attribute die are the stuff that goes in the top part. I get
Right.
you now.
All right. Also, as a side note, you can put up to 2 dice into any single skill at character generation, and skill dice are put in full dice. You can't split them up like you do attribute dice.
Okay. And so what's the max you can put into a attribute?
So for human norm and for Twi'leks, it's minimum 2, maximum 4.
So max out technical. I get you.
If you want, that'll give you a very high base for all of your tech skills.
I'm not going to be that shooty. We already have Indiana Jones.
Yep.
Wait, does Lilish have a whip? There are like energy whips.
God,
There
no.
are, but those tend to be force weapons, so no, because that might
come
just end up
on.
ripping my own limbs off.
Well, as a side
Come
note, like a blaster.
A blaster is
or s-
fine.
Sorry, I just completely misspoke there. A lightsaber actually does not require force using. Like
It
it's
doesn't,
even
but-
specifically
Okay.
called out in this book that you do not have to be a force user to use a lightsaber or any weapon like that.
Yeah, all you gotta do is General Grievous do it. Do it. Be General Grievous.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. It's just a thing you can do.
So yeah, I've got 1 dice in dodge, 1 in blaster. I've got bargain, con, gamble, hide, sneak, and streetwise. That's it.
All right.
I
So
am useless, by the way, at like searching. Like, sure, I can do all this talking, and I can be smart, but I can't find. I'm not an investigator. Let's put it that way.
I am getting high perception along with force sense.
So
that's
Can-
maybe
that's
I'll do
useful.
Can I also say, it's really weird that perception is also this game's equivalent of charisma.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah,
I kind
I
of get it as it's your awareness of other people as well as your environment, but
At the very least, I can imagine it belonging, like gambling would belong to perception in my eyes, because it's not just the bluff as well. It's a lot of spot the cheat. Oh no, con even.
Okay, so
So-
you,
Okay,
you
that's
can only
not
put
fair.
how many dice into a single skill?
for you can put as many dice as you want.
Okay,
You
I
can
can just do
fucking
whatever I
ham
want.
Fucking-
bitch crazy.
OP asteroid.
You can
You know
put
what?
just 10 dice of fucking
You
Starship
can
piloting.
you can put 10 dice into a skill if you want, but just be aware that the starting skills you have are going to be like your primary things, because it takes a lot of skill points to unlock a new skill as a droid.
Okay.
Now, because you're a droid, the whole party can dump skill points into you just like they can the ship, but
Oh, so they can the party can donate extra skill points to me.
yes, to
To
upgrade
upgrade
you,
me.
because you're a droid.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
Just like you can all donate skill points to the ship to level it up.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And so,
Yes.
Will you be? I assume you'll be going into full details on like equipment and stuff we have closer to when we actually play.
Yeah, I mean, starting equipment is basically pick whatever you want off the list. Don't go ham.
So what was it? It was
Alright. So, for the character sheet, like the ones in Roll20, are we gonna? How do I actually put that in for what I'm doing?
What do you mean?
Like, so for it to roll for me?
Yeah, you're gonna be typing /R a lot.
I mean,
Okay,
okay, so
so
here's
I mean,
the-
you actually
just-
can put that in. I think it's under abilities, but
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for instance,
under
that's, I've
ability-
just built one there for dodging, and you can also still cram a macro in there.
just
So
be
give me a
aware
moment.
that your skills will change dynamically during encounters. So
Yeah.
that makes
then
macros
that
kind of
sounds-
shit.
Then
You
that
can add
sounds
a
like a
modifier.
hassle. Then
Yeah, you
that
can make it a
sounds-
modifier. What's the code for modifier queries, Maz, if you can put it in?
Oh my god, I fucking have never done that before.
Yeah, you
How
can make it
exciting.
so that it will challenge you for a modifier.
So
Holy shit.
that's an example. That thing where it's like question mark, wiggly bracket, base, vertical /10, close squiggly brackets. That's how you make a modifier thing. And the thing after the vertical slash, that's the default. And whenever you use that in a macro, it just brings up a little text box that lets you input whatever value you want at the time. And what's better is that you don't just have to put static numbers in. You can put like d6.
Neato.
Okay.
Let's see here. I actually haven't tried playing quite around with it myself, so let's see if this works. I think I got it to work. Question marks. Squiggle, squiggle. Squiggle.
okay. So the skills. Let me see if I have this right. I can buy a skill for 1, and then to upgrade it to 2, I have to spend 2.
So
then
that's
to
how
get
it normally works in when you actually are leveling yourself up.
Yes.
At character generation, you have 18 dice. You can put them
so you
wherever
just
you
put
want.
them. You just allocate
Right.
them.
If you want to
There's
have
no- you
10D in
don't buy
astrogation,
them.
you drop 9 of your dice into it.
Okay.
but
Alright,
you'll
so
be
that- okay.
amazing at it.
Okay,
Right.
so it's assumed that like human players start with 0 or human alien, and then you add on top of that, right?
Everyone has 0 until you put dice into it.
I
So
assume
it's-
that I assume that you have to have a minimum dice in something.
Yes, you must have at least 2D in an attribute to a maximum of 4, unless you're an alien, in which case you have different minimums, maximums.
I feel like maybe. Wow. This is not.
Are you just gonna, for my race, you just gonna keep it as it is,
Yeah,
human?
so minimum 2, maximum 4.
Okay, so
What is the difference between
it's
astrogation
18
and
attribute points and 7 skill points.
What was that, Kino?
So what is the difference? What is the difference between astrogation and planetary systems?
So planetary systems is knowledge. That's, tell me about this planet. It's also the, hey, you know what? I want to know where to go for this sort of thing. Like, what's a good criminal planet? Why, let me tell you if you roll the dice. Astrogation is how do I get to that planet?
So I don't know anything about the planets. I just know how to get to them.
Yes, you are a computer. You compute hyperspace routes.
I suppose I should have put some into languages then, since I'm supposed to be also a protocol droid.
Yeah, if you want. The way we handle languages is the first time you encounter someone speaking it, you roll your language dice, and the target number is determined by how obscure the language is. If you hit the target number, you already know the language. The source book, not the rule book. Let me pop that sucker open and see.
Yeah, page 81.
Base Merzendi. Let's see what they are. Source book,
Yeah.
source book, source book.
They've got a lower minimum technical and mechanical, but higher minimum perception.
That makes sense. What page did you say, sorry?
81.
81.
So right now I have got 5 in piloting, 5 in astrogation, 3 in blaster, 3 in languages, and then 2 in search.
Neat.
10,
Yeah,
13,
I've got
14.
literally 1 streetwise, 1 dodge, 1 blaster, 1 bargain, 1 con, 1 gamble, 1 hide.
Alright, so let me just point out something to you, Keenan. You can tell me if you care or not.
Okay.
So, the way you have your character set up now, you can shoot pretty well, right?
Okay.
You have no ability to dodge, so if someone shoots at you, they're basically just going to be raw dogging the target number, which usually isn't that high. And if you get hit, your damage reduction is 1d, so you will almost certainly be blasted to pieces if you get hit. So just be aware. You can advance armor rating like a skill because you're a droid. Just remember that.
Okay.
So you might want to take those search dice and put them into armor or dodge.
Okay. I need to get. Okay.
Let's see. Hold on, let me get that to you. 81. Okay, here we go. Twi'leks. Oh, you can only get. Oh, that's dumb. Why do you have 1 less attribute point?
Okay, so let's see, 5 in piloting, 5 in astrogation, 3 in languages, 3 in blaster, and then 3 in armor rating. So how does the armor rating work? Do I roll against the person's damage or something?
Yes, right. So someone will roll their damage, so 5d for a blaster rifle, 5d6. You roll your strength, or in your case, armor rating, and the difference between the 2 rolls determines how bad the hit is. If you roll equal to or over the damage roll on your resistance, you are just stunned. You just get knocked on your ass and shake it off. You can get wounded, which means you're stunned for a turn, and then you have a 1d penalty on everything forever until you get healed.
So, Mers did a 2d6 and got a 7. I did a 3d6 and got 11. What happens? Nothing?
Yeah. You would get stunned. You just get knocked on your butt.
Ah, okay.
Because you rolled higher. But if you rolled lower, then yeah, you could get a wound. You could get incapacitated, which means you're wounded and you're knocked unconscious. And you can't take any action until you get healed. You cannot use any of your skills. Or you could be mortally wounded, which means you fucking die unless you keep making good rolls.
Hmm.
And it's not like D&D 5 where it's like, okay, I made 3 death saves, we're good. It's, oh god, please someone get me a med pack.
Someone please prepare me.
So let's see. Perception. 2d to 4d plus 2. Strength. Man, Twilight suck. Fuck this. Just use the human average. 2 to 4d and everything.
Who? What?
You, Stray. Just use the human averages. 2d to 4d for your attributes. Just the Twilight stats in this book suck.
Okay.
God
What book are
awful
you
for
looking
some
at?
reason.
I'm looking at the source book.
Oh, did you link that? Because I just have the first edition.
I linked the source book at some point way up, but it's really not relevant outside of character generation.
I mean, we're doing character generation, and I'm looking for certain rules, which is why I care right now.
Like, when I say character generation, I mean there's shit for, like, races. But not your race, because your race didn't exist.
Well, I'm just looking for the attribute numbers and like how force points work.
That's in the rule book, which is pinned. So again, you get 18 attribute dice. You can put 2 to 4d in everything, except for Dex, which can go to 5, and Technical, which can go down to 1 because you're a Cathar.
And since you start out with 18, you must spend 12 of those to get the minimum in strength, dex, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you
So,
have 6 to
basically
spread around.
Yeah, so you're left with 6, gotcha.
So in your case, DCL, let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So you could only have control unlocked the way you have your attributes.
Yeah, I'm
set up
trying to
right
look
now.
for I'm trying to look for the rule where it says if you're a Jedi, every force point is determined with the attribute. It's unlocked with the attribute.
I don't know what page it's on, but I know it to be true for a fact. So you can. This is one of the games where you can trust me when I say I know something. There aren't many games like that, but this is one of them. This is actually the first role-playing game I ever played, and I love it to pieces.
God, that macro is so nice. I really should have played with it more myself.
Wait, so how many points do I have right now? So I guess I'll knock down strength and get force sense, and then just leave alter.
Oh yeah, right. There's a thing in our character sheet, attributes and abilities.
Because I thought the whole thing is
How do I do
Unless you
this?
if you were only a Quicksun Jedi, you only got one of the skills out of order.
Yeah, so if you're just like training like a normal Sith or Jedi, you unlock control, then sense, then alter. If you're some weirdo beardo like I am a Force Oracle, then you can just have sense unlocked. But like in your case, you would almost certainly have control unlocked, maybe sense, almost certainly not alter unless you want to gimp yourself.
Yeah, I don't want to give myself that hard.
Yeah, so just put alter at 0D, and then yeah, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so that's working out right now. So yeah, your character's quick as hell, but you ignorant, son.
Yep.
You are super ignorant.
Hey man, Daddy didn't give him a proper education.
That is true. That makes perfect sense for your character, but goddamn. That technical though.
That technical though. I don't know shit.
You are literally like the person who struggles to figure out how to turn their phone on.
What's a phone?
Sorry, your comm link on.
What's a comm link?
That is a phone.
So I mean, my technical may actually be just 1D plus 1.
I meant to.
It ain't great, but you know.
And just remember, that's the skill you use to like research things on the internet. And speaking of which, do you want to have like
people to do that for me?
Do you want to have like a die invested in something like xenoarchaeology or some kind of bullshit skill that is actually what your character does for a living?
Sure, I want to call that knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah, absolutely. Let's see, what skills are there already in knowledge? Alien races would kind of be that already, so you can invest in that, or cultures, or something like that. Or just, straight up invent xenoarchaeology.
Let's go with inventing xenoarchaeology.
Sweet.
What does repulsor
take
lift?
away one of these perception skills?
The repulsor lift is stuff like speeder bikes and swoops.
Okay.
So you can repair them with technical, and you can operate them with mechanical. Speaking of which, let's see how Merz is doing. You are the most generic soldier man there has ever been.
I'm currently just putting in all of the bases so I don't have to, and listing all the skills so I don't have to be looking between the rulebook and this all the time.
Fine,
That
fine.
is such a good idea that I am copying what you were doing.
I'm just putting shit in on the spreadsheet.
I'm sort of fixing it so the in-game Roll20 sheet will work just fine.
I have one more point to spend. I'm not sure if I want to put it in perception or mechanical.
I mean, you could put it in Kina if you don't know. Oh wait, no, you mean for
there
overall.
it is. Okay,
Yeah, 4 out of
okay,
my
got it.
18.
Right.
Because I have 4 technical, 3 perception, 3 dex, and 3 knowledge.
Depends on if you want to be the
Two
party
strength.
face or not, because perception is the I talk to people skill.
What
I
is
mean, I have
command?
that.
What is command?
Yeah, but perception is also search, which would be useful.
Which is also that, yeah.
I have.
Command is the skill for I am in a position of authority over these people, and I'm going to make them do what I want them to do.
So it's like diplomacy.
Okay, so
Except
he would
you have to be in a position of authority, or the people have to be
Specifically,
cowed.
you have to be above
Right.
the person.
You'll note that there is
Okay,
no
so-
diplomacy or persuade skill. That's important to note. Like
so
if
I
you
should
want to
get
just
rid of command because there's no way I can ever use it.
No.
As a renegade Sith.
probably not.
I was
you-
thinking command was just intimidation.
You might want to so intimidate is a skill that was added in a later splat. It is a knowledge skill if you're interested in taking that.
So what you're
So
saying?
you need to know how to spook them.
So what you're saying is the little tiny kitten man is not intimidating at all.
I mean, yeah, no, he's probably not.
I mean, you can invent skills though, right? So you could invent intimidate in this setting and put it in a skill.
Yeah, you could if you want to. Like that's what I was saying. Like, yeah, it's a knowledge skill.
Oh, if it's a knowledge skill, then no. Just because. Oh wait, knowledge is too.
How is that a knowledge skill?
Why is bargain a perception? Who fucking knows? That's just how the game works.
mean,
My biggest beef with this game is the fucking attributes. I hate them so much, but everything else is fine. So whatever.
I guess I'll get a point of search since I have really high perception.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm forgetting. Okay.
It's also
My
worth noting that
1d6
search is
attributes.
also like your gather information skill as well.
Oh, I wonder if he would be good at that.
My ship piloting and astrogation are actually 66.
Also, I have
Yes.
to
I
ask
got my one. I
I
got
have
my
to ask a
extra
question
one.
now.
Yep.
Can
What
I
is it?
start with a lightsaber?
So, from the backstory you've given me, I'm kind of thinking like, no, but you could get one pretty early in the adventure. Like, you didn't have anything when you fled your daddy's estate, or do you want to have like your brother's lightsaber or something like that?
I mean, even as a trainee, he would get a lightsaber, right?
No, there were
No.
Sith training blades. They were more dangerous than vibro blades, but just about only barely.
Okay, well then, if he would have his brother's lightsaber.
Okay.
He would use that in like the heirloom or something until he could, because that would be like his little symbol of I believe in my brother.
Mm-hmm.
If you made it as far as Korriban, I thought all of the
Nope.
trainees there got lightsaber.
Not until you
Nah,
like
they're-
have
you-
become an official acolyte.
Yep, not until you become an apprentice. Your
I mean,
acolytes acolytes get Sith training sabers. Apprentices get lightsabers.
I guess
Sith
then I
training
should-
sabers, by the way, are really, really vicious because it's like, you know how when you get hit with a lightsaber, it cuts your limb off? Well, we need a blade that replicates that. So what it's done is it's covered in a terrible, terrible toxin that will inflict excruciating agony and make the limb that it strikes go completely numb.
Then I'm tempted to get force altered just so I can say I've completed my training and would have a
Well,
lightsaber.
that's the
I
first
mean-
blade you get, and then they'll actually give you a saber so you can actually cut through things. And Sith Lords like Ajunta Paul were like, I really, really like the feeling of cutting through things, so I'm just going to use Sith alchemy to make a sword, and I'm not going to use lightsaber.
Because I mean, here's my only issue.
Paul just predate lightsabers anyway.
Because
You sure?
Here's my-
Lightsabers back then had little power packs.
Oh man, yeah, those things are adorable.
here's my
It's
issue.
like a fanny pack that has a battery in it.
Hold on, let TCL talk.
my character would not have tried to kill his father until he was able to get a hold of a lightsaber, because that would have been stupid.
Why?
Because
I mean, it happened a lot. It's a
because
great way
he
to become a Sith.
no, because he didn't try to kill his father through like guile or anything. He was just like,
No,
"Hey,
I mean,
fuck you."
okay, so this is something that, again, this is introduced in the Old Republic, so it's not in the rulebook, but cortosis is a thing in the Star Wars setting. That dissipates lightsaber energy, and it's applied to blades. So, like, if you have a vibroblade, basically a long sword, you can straight up, like, go toe-to-toe with a lightsaber and be fine if you're a better duelist.
Fair enough, I suppose. I mean, all right, yeah, I'll just take that I'm using the brother's lightsaber.
Okay.
Because otherwise,
like,
since
see,
lightsaber
like,
fighting and deflection are all reliant on force skills.
I mean,
Not
like,
starting with one gamester character for a while.
like scene 1 of the first Old Republic game has just soldiers with vibroblades fighting a Sith Lord with a lightsaber.
I don't imagine that could possibly.
I mean, they lost,
But they were able
go
to
up
go
against him.
toe-to-toe with the guy.
Yeah,
I think Toad going toe to toe.
they could block his blows and hurt him.
Yeah. Also, Darth Bandon was a scrub.
Okay, because I was about to say you're talking a Sith Lord. Just
I
because
mean, then again,
was
there's
just-
like
he was
in the
some
trailer
guy.
for the Old Republic, there's Republic troopers just like beating the shit out of Sith warriors. Just like they're not even using swords; they're just like shoulder charging them.
fuck your lightsaber. Bitch.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah,
your lightsaber
in this
punch.
era, there were lots of Force users, and people got pretty good at trying not to get their limbs cut off while fighting them and shooting at them.
Yeah, it's
I
like
mean,
when
it
you're
would make
there,
sense for
yeah,
some kind
they
of.
learn how to fight them.
This was
Not
the height
super
of the
rare,
power.
so
This was the height of the power of the Mandalorian Force killers.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, because the
Soldiers super fucking good at killing people with sabers and Force powers.
But I mean, the
Alright.
Mandalorians were good at killing everybody.
So
True.
I've got computer and droid programming and repair, repulsor lift repair, security, starship repair, search and dodge.
Nice.
Maybe I should get rid of search. I have like 5 dice into search.
I think all in all I have 4 dice because I have 3 in perception and 1 in search, and my dexterity is 4, so I have 5 in dodge.
So
'Cause I
you
don't
would
want to get shot.
want to write something like that.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Yeah, and take out the XD, so it's just strength is 2D.
Okay. I thought it was just times dice.
No,
while you
that's
had it, the
X
in there.
like X
No,
mark.
it's the hilarious face.
I honestly thought that at first, and I was sitting there trying to figure out what he was trying to do, and I was like, oh, right.
All right. So Kina, it's a little past 7:15 now. Do you want to like pop off into artifacts or?
let's keep going.
Okay, you might want to tell Third that because she's just hanging out in general.
Fuck right.
I mean, we're almost.
I'll go and tell Third that we're gonna keep doing this.
All right. Are we going to keep doing it like all night, or are we just going to be a little bit and then artifacts?
I sense great hesitation in you.
How much is there left we need to all be here for? I feel like most of it is just like plugging in numbers now.
Yeah, there's plugging in numbers, filling out your connections and stuff, and yeah, that's about it.
Just making
Hey,
sure the connections are solid.
hey, Saban, can you pop over to my thing to make sure I did stuff right?
Mm-hmm.
New system. I don't want to be flipper.
No, that's fine. So you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 attribute dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Presumably
The key
that's
is just
5.
DC.
D.
He's gone to
He's
talk to
jumped
third.
over to.
So what'd
And
you
like
say?
And like for Force
Saban?
Sense and. Oh,
Mhm.
Were you saying something because you just highlighted that thing?
Sorry, no, I was just filling it out. So yeah, everything looks good here. If you just want to have 1D in all of your skills, that's perfectly fine.
Well, I needed all those skills and I only had 7, so.
Fair enough. You
Because I
also
needed-
can break up your skill dice into 3 +1s or a +1 and a
Oh.
+2 rather than dice.
I thought you said we couldn't do that with skill dice.
Oh, you're right. You're right. No, you can't. That's just for attributes at this, this
Third does
point.
not seem to be responding to.
Fair
Okay.
enough.
Well, I
Maybe just
I
throw a
wanted
text
search.
message in there. She'll
I
realize.
did.
Okay.
I wanted search because if I lost a tool or trying to find something, I didn't want to be not be able to see, and I can't shoot, but I can dodge, and all of those repair things I needed.
Yeah. So dodging is very important in this game, let me tell you. Or having shitloads of armor. One of the two.
Yeah, so I cannot shoot for anything, but I have made a mechanic.
Yep. Actually, you're a fairly good shot just raw dogging decks.
This is true. I have maxed out decks.
Yeah, my dex is 4D plus 1. It's pretty jacked with the +1 and blaster.
Now, if your name is not Merzendi, you really do not ever want to get hit, because all of you dump statted strength.
Pretty much.
And let me reiterate that that is your damage resistance.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
but I am also a mechanic. I'm not supposed to be shooting.
Yeah.
I
Now-
have force control, which I can ignore pain. So
Yes, you can ignore the wounds unless it kills you.
unless it kills me. So I still don't want to get one shot, but hey.
Which is very... Strength is the thing that keeps you from getting one shot, but yeah.
I know, I'm tempted to put some away from perception and maybe put it back into strength.
Yeah, perception is something your character doesn't seem like they'd be very good at.
I just wanted it for hide and sneak.
Of course you did.
I'm sorry, I
Of
can't.
course.
Old habits, man. Come on, I can't help.
Yeah, wait a second. You're supposed to be my Chewie. You're not supposed to hide ever.
I mean, he's a small little cat boy.
So, you're still my Chewie.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Let's get rid of perception.
Also, did your character actually have a robot arm?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just make sure to note that on your possessions, so I can just at a glance be like, oh yeah, that's a thing.
Okay. Father took half his face and half his arm.
Ow.
Half of his arms.
Half of his arms. Yep.
But yeah, I honestly couldn't justify putting any into strength, especially with how DCL made my character look. I am too squishy for that. Come on.
It's true.
Come on, Squish can hide massive strength.
Now, to be fair, you can also just buy armor, but that only goes up to a maximum of 1D, and it penalizes your dex by a like amount. Unless it's like really awesome armor.
Armor's
Yeah.
only like 1D.
Yes.
I'm just going to be wearing the uniform that DCL gave me. It's
I am
fine. I'm just going to hide on the ship.
I am
So
sorry.
it's like equipment doesn't really do much. It's just like all in your skills.
Yeah.
Hey,
Equipment is
thank
largely
you.
flavor.
Hmm.
Like that good armor is like a 50% increase in your survivability.
Like 1D is not something to laugh at when it's if you have a strength of 2D, suddenly it's 50% more likely to not die.
Okay, there we go. I've got all of my skills that have bonus dice in it get their own little thing. And then I have base abilities for all the other ones.
Wow, they don't even have like the Echani armor in here. This is I forgot how far.
Chani didn't
back this was.
exist.
Yeah,
A lot of stuff
They
didn't
have
exist.
Stormtrooper
Yeah.
armor and Bounty
This
Hunter
is
armor.
like a New Hope. And
Yeah, this was made immediately after The Empire Strikes Back came out.
That was a good movie.
After
Or not Return of the Jedi, right? Yes, that's
okay.
the name of that movie.
that's what I had thought.
So
Yeah.
anything that's not in
If it's not in the
the
prequels,
first three movies,
yeah, it's not. Even the EU hadn't started, right? There weren't any novels or anything. When
There's
Timothy
nothing.
Zahn wrote the Thrawn series, LucasArts sent him West End Games source book to be like, "Here's the Star Wars universe."
Man, the Thrawn series was
Honest
so
to
good,
God,
though.
that is what happened. They sent him this rule book.
Aside from the anti-force cat lizards, it was good. But
Lizards.
yes,
real quick, with force powers, generally I can make up what force powers I have, and as long as they're not too outlandish, I can use them pretty liberally, right?
Correct. There are some powers that are pre-made in the book, but it's not like you're a wizard and you only know certain powers. As long as you have the skill to use it, e.g. control, sense, or alter, you can use all the force powers that are tied to it.
I'm really
Wait, what
tempted
the
to
fuck
get
is that roll?
alter just because I want to be able to pull back a lightsaber after losing it.
3d6 plus 2 plus 1.
And you could just drop sense.
Drop. No, you can't. You can't drop sense though. It's control, sense, then alter, right?
That's true. It's true.
What are you asking about, Kina?
The Scow's roll there, the 3d6 plus 2 plus 1 plus... No, wait. plus 1, no,
Yeah,
plus 2,
so
plus 1d6, plus...
the
Oh,
way
okay,
I've
one's
set
the
up the
skill, one's
macro,
the attribute.
yeah, and the last one is just any additional modifiers. So like,
Right.
if you're trying to take multiple actions in a turn, you reduce your pool for like all of your actions by the number of actions passed for first. So if you're doing like 3 things in one turn, you like roll with negative 2d.
Okay.
Could just be 3D strength, but I kind of like the idea of being able to jump good. What Jedi doesn't have hops? Actually, Savin. Hello?
Yeah.
Would using control for jumping higher be a thing?
Probably, yeah.
Since control is like the whole buff yourself thing, I imagine whenever a Jedi jumps super high, that's what they're doing.
Actually, no, I think about it. That macro's bad because it's like rolling a d6 and then taking that.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's... Maybe just... Can you set it to be just like minus this number of 6s or something? Or take out that many dice?
Let me have a look at it. You know, I think I can actually.
Sweet.
And
Yeah,
I think that would actually make it work so much more neatly, even. But we'll see.
The only things that seem to have actual stats are weapons, and then that's it.
Yep. Weapons and armor. Everything else is because I have this, I can do this. Kind of like Fate.
It's to enable you to use a skill.
Right. So, like, if you want to do like droid repair, you need to have a droid toolkit. Otherwise, you're going to be taking a massive penalty.
Oh, that's so smart, Maz.
What did Mers do?
Yeah. Update the macro to the edit I've done in Discord, and that is. I think that's the best macro I've ever made.
Right.
Modifiers is a block number of d6s.
Form. Attribute.
Bloop.
Skill. Oh my god, Mers.
Nice.
Very nice, Mers.
Is there a way to add the +1s and +2s in there, or are we just going to have to do that after the fact?
Right, yes. I can, in fact, do that.
I believe after the
just a
d6,
sec.
right? You can do another plus question, and then it's just a
Yeah.
modifiers.
Can do that, although, yeah.
I mean, that would be a query as opposed to just flat number.
I think it'd probably be easier to just add them after the fact, considering that's just one more input value you have to do for every roll.
So good, Mers. I applaud you very much for this.
I love having competent people around me. It's amazing.
Confident.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna drop my strength down 1, get force alter, and
Oh
just
my
go full force power.
Okay.
Jeez.
Under the list of things Savin would not do, that is on that list, but okay.
I mean, the whole thing...
You might also just consider dropping your dexterity, because holy shit.
Fuck you, I am a dex bag to the end.
Oh my god. No, hold on, hear me out here. The only thing your character fucking uses under dexterity is lightsaber. You do not need to have a high dexterity to just put points in lightsaber.
Also,
You're not
Savin,
wrong.
isn't it the case that he can just substitute in his force control skill?
No, that's for
lightsaber?
damage.
Yeah, that's only for damage.
Not for the attack roll, unfortunately.
I must have misread it. Okay.
Also, just 3D in all your 4 skills and lightsaber fighting. I mean...
I want to be one... What's the good of being a Jedi if I'm not going to be one with the Force?
I mean, okay. Look, I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying this is a bad idea.
3D strength's
Might
fine.
be
It's
a poor
average.
choice.
I just should not be getting into fights.
I don't know if you've noticed, but this is Star Wars.
Which is going to be
But
bad.
you walk into a place and someone's going to say they don't like you very much.
I don't like you either.
And then when it's you, you go, oh yeah, well, nah. And you really push him.
Alright. Just as a thought, Kina,
Yes.
you might want to drop astrogation by 1d and put 1d into dodge, just so that you can advance dodge much more easily later on. Because in order to unlock a skill, it takes for a droid, it takes a bunch of skill points like front loaded.
Oh, really?
Yes, it'll take 10 skill points and 1,000 credits to unlock a new skill.
Oof, that is a lot.
Yeah, but then once you unlock it, you can just start zipping way up into the stratosphere like normal. But
Okay.
yeah, so put 1d into any skill you think you're going to want in the future. And you can probably take them out of astrogation, because, I mean, this is mostly a skill you're not going to use all of the time, right?
I guess, probably.
And following pre-map type space routes, like that's not a hard astrogation check, is it?
So,
like...
following like a major astrogation route, like normally just doesn't even require a roll. You just tell the computer, hey, go here. And the computer says, okay. If you want to go somewhere that's out of the way, like not on a major route, or if you want to try and get there faster than normal, you have to astrogate.
Okay.
So astrogation is very useful for getting to places that aren't like major hubs on a trade route. But if you just want to go to like, let's go from Hosnian Prime to Coruscant, then you don't roll, because that's dumb. Why would you ever? If you're going from Korriban to Endor, then you're going to want to roll. Fucking Comcast.
Maybe my piloting skill's a bit too high as well. It's very high. It's like 5. So it's 66.
Yeah, I think, like, generally my strategy for building a character is, like, you want to roll 5d in things that you're good at when you start out, so...
I guess since I can only...
So if I drop that by 1, then I'm rolling 5d instead of 60. Okay.
And then you can put a die in something else, like security or computer programming. Or just be a gambling addicted droid. That'd be funny. That's an NPC in KOTOR, too. She is the best.
A droid that likes to gamble.
A droid that's corrupted her programming, so she is addicted to gambling. She's terrible at it, too. Everyone just takes her for a ride.
But she loves it the whole time.
She is just enamored of gambling.
That's funny.
Wait, how the fuck... Oh, I guess that's just...
I'll put it into cultures, because I'm supposed to be a protocol droid.
Yeah, you protocol that shit right up.
You can only have a...
And better languages, though.
You can only put 2D into a force power, right?
You can only put 2D into anything at character generation from your skill pool. Okay. Oh my god, your character, though.
I'm thinking of changing things. I'm realizing that,
Yeah.
I'm thinking... Because the main thing I forgot is that Force Sense, even though it's a universal defense, it's a lot less dice than if you were specialized in your defense.
Yeah. So, I mean, Sense is great for deflecting blaster bolts and shit, because you can just redirect them at people, but...
I mean, his dodge is going to be
If you get fucking punched in the face hole, though...
Yeah, because
you
get poisoned.
Hold on. Here's the thing right now, DCL. You have 3D and Sense, right?
Right.
So you're thinking, okay, well, if I need to parry a blaster bolt or a lightsaber or whatever, I'm going to roll 3D.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Except your dexterity is 5D.
Yeah.
So instead, you're just rolling 5D and not using Sense. See what I'm saying?
Your ability to block a shot is your dexterity, not your sense.
To use Sense if you wanted to parry it.
If you want to actually reflect the blaster bolt, yes, you have to use Sense. If you just want to dodge an attack or parry a lightsaber, you can use Dex.
It's so much smarter just to take the point away from it and put it into actual dodge.
Yes, it is. It is so much better.
I won't get to do the cool reflecting thing, but I'll survive a lot longer.
Yeah. You might also consider putting points into melee parry so you can lightsaber fight people.
Yeah, that's also what I'm doing.
Everybody was
sensitive,
lightsaber.
though.
Like, realistically, you can probably just drop Alter and Sense down to, like, 1D apiece and be fine.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just put that into, like, fighting skills.
But then I won't get to use as many cool force powers, which makes me
Out of the gate.
So,
Let's
I have a
just be
question.
clear on that. Yeah.
It'll take a while to raise those. Like, the game specifically states that raising force powers takes a long ass time.
If you don't have a master, but yes.
Melee parry and dodge.
Yes, Kina?
So, do I get can I even get force points? 'Cause
You know,
I'm not
when I
sure.
made your character sheet, I bricked that out like I did dark side points, but then right before we started this session, I went back and looked through my sheets, or through the rulebook, and I could not find anything that says you can't have force points. So you can have force points.
Huh.
Jedi robot.
Yeah.
What do you even use a force point for?
So
It's your
you
fate point.
use a force point to double all of your dice for a turn.
You
Like,
basically
only
trust.
for a turn? I thought it was just for one roll.
Nope.
Wait, for a turn?
For a turn.
I
For
thought
an
it was
entire
just.
turn,
what the
you
fuck?
double all your dice.
Yep.
It's like super advantage.
Jeez, just having 3 force points is amazing then.
But you don't regenerate them
How do you
unless
have
do
3 force
something.
points, DCL?
Because I thought you got a force point for every for every force power you had.
Is that a thing?
I'm pretty sure that's a thing.
Quote me a page number.
I have to find it again.
I don't disbelieve you, I just don't remember having read that.
To find it again. I'll read.
Because my understanding was you got 1 force point or 2 force points if you were force sensitive.
At any time during the game, maybe it is just 1. Player cannot spend more force points than eventually possess. Blah 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 blah. Where's force power? Where's the special? You are the Jedi, so you're a special thing. Maybe it is just 1. Why did my character she had 2 force points? Because I thought you put that in when I had
I
only
did.
the 2 force.
I
Force
put the
sensitive
2
gets it.
force points in there because you have 1 to start with, and then you get a second one because you're force sensitive.
Oh, so Jedi's only get 2.
Yes,
Okay.
correct. Also, well,
Alright.
anyone who's force sensitive. So speaking of which, does anyone else want to be force sensitive?
What would that mean for our character?
So it means that you start with 2 force points, which is great because, as we just discovered, force points are amazing. But you can get dark side points at any time rather than just when you use force points. And while I'm not using the random roll lol you just lost your character rolls, if you accumulate 6 dark side points, shoot, bye.
Really now?
Yes, dark side points are bad.
Because my whole thing is my character is still very much following the Sith tenets at the first.
And that's
Although
fine.
he's not being
Like you can follow the Sith tenets and not get dark side points if you're not a douchebag.
okay.
Like
It's like I would like this character to be force sensitive because I picked their connection as Arden Koth, but Arden Koth is literally the Jedi that went SIS chief and basically did the in-game equivalent of collect too many dark side points.
and that makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
the struggle between the light and the dark is a really like core part of the Star Wars story. So
Yeah, fuck it. I am a sensitive.
all right, so bump your force points to 2.
You can sense the force sensitivity in you. It's why they were bound together by fate.
Yeah, that's how I met Arden Koth. He was someone who sadly in story is doomed to make that leap too far, trying to, if I remember correctly, he was trying to basically pull a Hedra with some ancient Republic. Actually, one of his Sith weapons, it was Republic super weapons that would extinct whole races of people. And he's like, "Well, I might need these to kill all the Sith." And it's like,
That seems a little unethical.
like.
Revan
Could
tried
I-
to implement it, and then you stab it.
Oh
and you can't.
yeah, and
Great.
also that too. Revan did that too.
Could I do something? Could I do the opposite and just completely forego force points in order to barter for more attribute points?
I mean, that's how that works in Fate.
well, this is not fate. Like you mean
Yeah,
you mean
I mean
skill points. I
That's
assume,
what I
right?
meant. Skill point. I mean, if no, I mean that's fine. I'll just.
Yeah, I don't. Like, force points are such a huge advantage. So, like, you're gonna want that more than skill points because you can just get skill points later.
Okay.
Can't get force points.
No. So here's the thing:
Yeah,
you
you can.
get force points by using force points. If you have no force points, you can get no force points.
If I take
How
basically
does that?
nothing.
What?
Oh, okay.
When you
So
spend a force
Yeah.
point, you have a if you spend it in a stupidly heroic fashion, then if Savin really likes it, he can say at the end of the adventure, you get the force point you spent back, and you also get a second one to go along with it.
So the way it's worded is, if you commit an evil act while using a force point, such as like, I'm going to just beat the shit out of this random person, or I'm going to rob this dude, then you lose the force point forever, and you get a dark side point. If you use a force point in a way that's completely neutral, like, oh god, that TIE fighter just shot me, I would like to not die, please, then you just lose the force point, but you don't gain a dark side point.
Okay.
If you spend the force point in a heroic fashion, like, get away from that child, you monster, bonk, then you get the force point back at the end of the adventure. If you do the same thing, but at a super dramatic, awesome way, then you get another force point.
Okay.
You cannot go to 0 force points if you're a player character, though. What happens is you spend your force point, you drop to 0 for the rest of the adventure, and then you get that force point back anyway. But you don't ever get to advance it.
If
Okay.
I only take like a sporting blaster and some clothes, can I literally just bathe in tools?
Yeah.
I want every tool.
Go for it.
Alright. Guys, I have every tool under the toolbar.
Okay. Okay, so here's my question, right? So force points are a central thing, and how you use them is even more important.
Mhm.
So then I feel like it's very important to establish characters' morality motivations, just so that it makes it easier for that to actually come up.
Sure.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me role playing too hard.
It's like, define morality motivation.
Like, just for like my character, he wants to be a good guy, but he's very much rooted in Sith training, which is just to let your emotions go wild.
Yeah.
So at any drop of the hat, he could maybe do the superheroic thing of saving the child. But if somebody like was just to wing one of his friends, he could very easily go force powers to force choke a guy and sadistically kill him, even though it was fair combat.
So there are a few force powers like force choke that give you a dark side point just for using it.
For using them.
Now, I'm gonna say that that's a one-time thing only. Like, the first time you force choke somebody, you get a dark side point. If you do it like 30 times after that, you're fine. Doesn't matter.
Okay, but
You've
yeah, I'm
already,
just saying,
you've
like,
So you-
already
it's-
stepped over that line.
Yeah, you have stepped over that line.
You already popped your choking eye.
should I just start a force dark side point then? Because it makes sense he would maybe have that skill.
So the reason. All right, so you lose dark side points by atoning for them, which seems like something your character's been doing.
He's been trying very hard to atone, but
Which is
atoning
fine,
hard.
because all you have to do is just not be a douchebag for an adventure, and you lose a dark side point.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I'm going to say no to you starting with a dark side point is because, and I don't know if you've read this in the rulebook, but whenever you use a force skill, you add your dark side rating to it in dice.
Oh, I did not actually read
The
that.
dark
So
side
the
is
dark side points you
seductive.
have, the more powerful you
You see,
are.
I like
Yes.
that because that's part. I like that. Dark side seductive. If you want more power, you get more dark side.
Exactly.
I actually
Exactly.
really like that.
I assume
But
I
it's a
could just
balance,
make, like,
so you don't go overboard. 'Cause then you lose
The balance, the original balance is every time you get a dark side point, you have to roll to see if you lose your character. Now, I'm not doing that, but
That's, yeah.
Actually, I remember like one of the things in the book being it becomes harder for you to resist using the dark side points for an evil fashion.
yes. So
you have-
what I'm going to do is something very similar to that. Like, once you've accumulated a couple dark side points, I'm going to start making you roll to like resist being a douchebag sometimes, or like if somebody insults you or threatens you, you're going to need to make a restraint roll, or you're going to go berserk on their ass, and probably get another dark side point.
Yeah, I was
Yay,
thinking
snowballing.
about the snowball effect for that.
Exactly, like that's how you fall to the dark side, is
It starts
craving
to
power and then it snowballs.
But yeah, back to like this morality pointing out. Like my character is trying very hard to be a good guy. He just gets very like flowy with his emotions. But it seems like everybody else is still of the smuggler gray class, where it's just like they'll probably just skate the line. I don't know, just from what I've seen.
It's not hard to just be, you could just be a guy that's not trying to be good. You're just trying to be a normal dude.
I know, but I feel like when you do that, it makes it a lot harder to get into situations where you care. It's like if you're just a normal dude, don't play the hero. Just get the fuck out. Why would you bother? Or don't get into a situation where you have to make morality choices.
The same reason why, like, Mao from Firefly keeps being pulled into morality situations even though he doesn't want to, because we take jobs and then the jobs eventually require that choice. So, it's a very much but thou must type of thing.
I mean, yeah, but then I feel like that puts all of the weight onto Saban to make those situations.
I mean, that's sort of integral to Star Wars being a thing, which I'm all right with.
Okay.
I'm assuming that I can also take like a comm link and like stuff like that.
Yeah. So the thing is, with equipment, like you can start with whatever you want as long as it's not like retarded. Like you can't start with a heavy repeating blaster. Why? That is a crew serve weapon.
Okay. So,
but yeah, like it makes sense for your character to have shitloads of tools and like techno gadgets. It would not make sense for your character to have like power armor and a machine gun.
So yeah, that answers my question. If I can have a flashlight comlink.
Yeah, you can have whatever techno gadgets you want. That's fine.
Also, I apologize in advance for being insufferably force religious.
That's fine.
Oh dear.
Okay, and the other thing is, like, the droid equipment, like repair services, overhaul services, is that just parts to repair someone? Or is that just taking them to, like, down to be serviced, like...
Yes, that is taking them down to, like, the garage to get them surfaced.
Oh, okay, well, I can just do that, so never mind.
Yeah. For you to repair things, so here's how equipment works, by the way. This is a good point since we have this extra, like, hour to do care gen. Equipment is also expendable. That's why it's so cheap. Like, basically, when you use a droid repair kit to fix Moo, that repair kit is then used up. You're done with it.
My name is H1.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
okay.
H1. No
when you repair High...
No, it's 8. God damn it. No, it's H1.
Okay,
we're going to have this argument a lot.
Okay. H1. When you repair H1 and you have a droid toolkit on you, you then expend the toolkit, right? So same thing with a med pack. If you use a med pack to use the medicine skill, gone. If you use a ammo bandolier to reload your gun, the bandolier's gone. So.
But yeah, if I like use a hydro spanner, it doesn't just snap in half.
Right. Well, those
tool, like a screwdriver.
Right, exactly. Now, having individual tools is kind of pointless. They don't really do anything. You want the kits and probably a tool harness.
But the thing is, you never know when you need, like, a plasma welder.
Yeah, like, these will be used exclusively in the, like, narrative prop sense.
Yeah, I've literally had situations where the DM has asked, "Can you do this?" And I've been like, "Yeah, Merzendi, because I had my advanced mechadendrite has a plasma fusion cutter on it. It's fine."
Yeah, that's fine. But again, it's the specific kits that let you repair computers, droids, or vehicles, and then those are used up.
Yeah. So, how many expendable kits can I start out with? Just the one?
Let's see. What's your character's technical rating? Let's say 4.
4, okay.
And you can mix and match whichever kinds you want. And then, yeah. By the way, the way critical fumbles work is the way I handle it anyway. This is totally saving house rule, but I like it. If you roll more 1s than anything than half of the roll, so if you're rolling 5 dice and you get 3 1s, you get some sort of terrible fumble, like your gun runs out of juice or whatever. So be aware, like if you are a macho shooty mans, you might want to have an ammo bandolier so you can reload the thing. Similarly, toolkits are great ways to like counter those losses, like saying, "Oh, hey, H1's arm falls off or something." You're like, "Okay, let's go fix that real quick." That's a bad thing.
Sorry, how many starting credits we got for building us up?
You don't have starting credits. You have whatever you feel is appropriate to your character.
Oh, okay.
Also, because this is
Within
totally during the Cold War, viral blades are not going to be a rare thing, so I do not just get to cut through everybody's melee defense, right?
Correct. Cortosis is on virtually every weapon.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, which also means I don't have to worry about the stupid you cut through people's swords when they try and parry you, which is nice because that's just added complexity.
It's just assumed that it's always there.
Yeah.
It's not a super rare thing.
Yeah, and then of course you can fluff the roll and say, well, it looks like the lining or the plating or the shielding on this wasn't quite as good because you do destroy it. But then that's, becomes a story prerogative as opposed to a system one.
Exactly.
It also does not empower me just by getting a lightsaber early.
Correct. That's the reason I'm letting you have the lightsaber to start with, is because everyone can just parry it and it's fine.
Yeah, but you can't dodge melee.
Correct. Speaking of which, just as a side note, as a Jedi, brawling parry is actually a really useful thing, because the best thing to do if you're in a lightsaber duel is just to punch the dude to stun him, and then you can hit him.
I'm pretty sure melee parry also applies to brawl parry.
Nope.
though. It does.
It-
I remember reading that specifically.
Does
Like,
it?
Melee parry also applies to brawl parry. So brawl parry is almost exclusively useless unless you just want to be a fist combat for some reason.
Then why does so... Hold on, let me just
Because
go...
melee parry only affects if you have a melee weapon to parry with.
I'm just gonna go open up a rulebook. Hold on.
I'm assuming it's okay if I have like a utility spacesuit for working on the ship in the void, right?
Yeah.
Sure. Now, mind you, that's a huge, chunky piece of equipment that's going to be on the ship at all times. It's not like, I'm wearing that into the cantina.
Yeah, no, that's going to be like right near the airlock.
Yeah, that's
to
fine.
be worn. Yeah.
That seems less like your personal equipment and more like ship's equipment, but yeah, that's fine.
Well, because there's emergency spacesuits and utility spacesuits, which I assume just means it has pockets.
Fair enough.
So,
Alright.
so then page 14. Brawling parry only works against brawling attacks, not melee attacks.
I'm aware.
Melee parry works against both.
What the
Dodge
fuck?
doesn't affect brawling or melee attacks.
Well,
Yeah. So you could totally
So,
lightsaber.
as it
parry
turns
this.
out, if someone tries to punch you, you can actually just stick your sword in the way.
That'll really fuck someone's day up.
well, I'm just going to go edit some NPC character sheets real quick.
Oops.
Glad I mentioned that.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I understand that being the case if you get like in super fucking close quarters, but it's like if two people are, if a guy is minding his range and he's using a sword and you got your fist, it's obviously not going to let you get close enough to punch him.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to why, like, brawling parry exists as a skill now. Like, why does it exist?
That was the question I was asking. I assume it's because if in story you want to have characters who can be deprived of their weapons, and maybe you've gotten to the point where people have just an abundance of skill points. You got the one guy who's really good with his fist fights. Or, maybe you make it so that killing, if maybe it's like a period of peace, killing is not okay. So you want to subdue people non-lethally.
Oh, now I see why it's a skill, because you actually have to have the melee weapon to use it, and most NPCs do not carry melee weapons.
Yes. There's also that. Because why use a fucking sword unless you're fighting a Sith and or Jedi when you can just use a gun?
Exactly.
Speaking of, are energy shields a thing?
So when I started putting this game together, I thought long and hard about that, and the answer I'm going to go with for right now is no. Like, we'll assume that that's how you survive, like, with a quote-unquote stun effect when you get shot. Because, yeah, again, this is a game that existed before that was even a concept. And, in fact, where the fuck did energy shields go in Star Wars? Is that ever mentioned?
I think they were just a KOTOR invention.
KOTOR came up with them.
Yeah,
and
but,
then
like,
they never appeared
exactly.
anywhere
How
else.
do they justify them not being in the original
no,
trilogy?
No. They're in Republic Commando 2 as well. So
I mean-
your dude has energy shields that recharge
I think Republic
And-
Commando came out after KOTOR, but regardless, like
Yeah. What happened, Sabin, was there was a big war where everyone shot each other back into their version of the Stone Age, and everyone forgot about personal energy shields and stealth, and like ship stealth the size of like a small freighter.
I don't. Okay, so I'm not a history expert,
I
but
hate
could
Star
that
Wars.
actually happen? Because you figure if everybody's
Yes,
fighting,
okay.
Yeah.
Here's a fun thing. In the Bronze Age collapse, people forgot how to write. Like that was just a thing.
I'm just saying, like, you think if it was due to war secrets would be coveted very hard because that would be power, and nobody would want to forget that. That's just me making the
You
assumption.
have stumbled across the why Sith love going to
Oh.
report ancient secrets of the fallen Rakata and like their fallen empire from the first time.
There
with
are
the
actually
Great
examples of
Hyperspace War.
energy shields. If you remember in let's not mention it too much, in the Phantom Menace, the fucking shithead Gungans had tower shields that had energy fields on them
Yeah,
that
That's true.
would
There's also
absorb blaster bolts.
And the hunter
there's
killer
also like the
droids.
friggin' droidicas.
And
so,
droidicas
you know.
had personal energy shields too.
Yeah.
But
The
not like
justification-
Jedi Knights or clone troop command. Well, I guess the commandos had shields, but
Okay, so I guess with
The
clone
justification I'm seeing is that
they're radioactive as fuck.
yeah,
Okay.
with clone troopers, you could say that they're so disposable that they didn't even think of giving them something if it was that expensive. Because the whole idea was like to have a clone army was just to have expendable soldiers, right?
Mm-hmm.
not quite Scout because back in the Old Republic era, at least from the fucking Wikipedia article, that's what
I love it.
yeah, back then, you could make an energy shield that was resistant to a blaster without it being radioactive as fuck, but blasters got better, got increasingly specialized at breaching shields, and the only way that shields could increase as well to still be useful was like just becoming mobile cancer dispensers.
How do
I mean,
I?
guess-
No one of their swords like, oh no, a droidica. What? And then it's why? I'm carrying so much metal. Do you know how old I am now?
fucking.
All right. So it looks like our time for character generation session is about up.
If we want to keep going, I
No.
really don't care.
No, we're playing
No,
artifacts
no,
tonight.
Yeah.
Let's get on with artifacts.
God damn it!
Yeah, I'm not going to be your excuse to not run your game.
Fucking.
So everyone's homework is to fill out the boxes down at the bottom of your character sheet, especially your connections. Again, you need at least one with an NPC and one with a PC. More is always
Is there a
better.
limit?
There is no limit. In fact, you can just generate them during play through the Streetwise or Planetary Systems skill.
I know Lando.
Yes, exactly. That's the perfect example of how Streetwise and context rolling works. Is, you know what? I know a guy who can fix this. Hold on.
My question is, can I make connections with characters my character doesn't know is still alive?
Yeah, absolutely. Like
I
I
have
think
both
I think that works.
Because her husband's super dead, but at least one of her daughters is still alive.
I have both daddy and brother on my connection list. Both of them are dead.
Okay.
You guys have fun with artifacts?
Yeah. All right. Good
Marzo,
stuff,
you can
everybody.
See you guys.